Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Banachari. Jamunatira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatashishimadhi His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatashishimadhi His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Grantarashman Bhagavatam Ki Itai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishiguru and Shri Gauranga. Somehow or other, do you remember the password for the temple Wi-Fi? No? Do you remember the password for the temple Wi-Fi? And I lost somehow or other. I had it, but now it's not there. You know the password for that one? Okay. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thanks. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, Texts 12 and 13, entitled Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. Vidharma paradharmascha abhasa upama chala adharma shakha panchema dharmagyo dharmavatyajet vidharma paradharmascha abhasa upama chala adharma shakha panchema dharmagyo dharmavatyajet vidharma paradharmascha abhasa upama chala adharma shakha panchema dharmagyo dharmavatyajet. Please chant. Vidharma, a religion. Paradharma, religious principles practiced by others. Cha, and abhasaha, pretentious religious principles. Upama, principles that appear religious but are not. Chalaha, a cheating religion. Adharmasakha, which are different branches of a religion. Pancha, 5. Ima, these. Dharmagya, one who is aware of religious principles. Adharmabhat, accepting them as irreligious. Tyajet, should give up. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are 5 branches of irreligion, appropriately known as irreligion, vidharma, religious principles for which one is unfit, paradharma, pretentious religion, abhasa, analogical religion, upadharma, and cheating religion, chaladharma. One who is aware of real religious life, okay, one who is aware of real religious life must abandon these five as irreligious. Purport. Any religious principles opposed to the principles of surrender to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, are to be considered religious principles of irregularity or cheating. And one who is actually interested in religion must give them up. One should simply follow the instructions of Krishna and surrender unto him. To do this, of course, one needs very good intelligence, which may be awakened after many, many births through good association with devotees and the practice of Krishna consciousness. Everything but the principle of religious recommended by Krishna, Sarvadharmam Parityaya Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja, should be given up as a religion. Text number 13. Dharma bhadho vidharma syad paradharmo nyakochitat upadharmastu pakhando dambho va shabdabikchalat. Translation: religious principles that obstructs one from following his own religion are called vidharma. Religious principles introduced by others are called paradharma. A new type of religion created by one who is falsely proud and who opposes the principles of the Vedas is called upadharma. An interpretation by one's jugglery of words is called chaladharma. Purport. To create a new type of dharma has become fashionable in this age. So-called swamis and yogis support that one may follow any type of religious system according to one's own choice, because all systems are ultimately the same. In Srimad Bhagavatam, however, such fashionable ideas are called vidharma, because they go against one's own religious systems. The real religious system is described by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva dharmam parityaya mam ekam sharanam braja. The real religious system is that of surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. In the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in connection with Ajamil's deliverance, Yamaraj says, Dharmanstu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. Real religion is that which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as real law is that which is given by the government. No one can manufacture actual law at home, nor can one manufacture actual religion. Elsewhere it is said, Sabai punsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaye. The real religious system is that which leads one to become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, anything opposed to this religious system of progressive Krishna consciousness is called vidharma, paradharma, upadharma, or chaladharma. Misinterpretation of Bhagavad Gita is chaladharma. When Krishna directly says something and some rascal interprets it to mean something different, this is chaladharma, or religious system of cheating, or sabdabhid, a jugglery of words. One should be extremely careful to avoid these various types of cheating systems of religion. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Satarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. I found these two verses extremely powerful and very very important. The main premise of the Srimad Bhagavatam is given in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Well, I won't say, I backtrack. Not the main premise, but a very strong statement made at the very beginning of the Bhagavatam that established the purpose of the Bhagavatam. And when Srila Vyasadeva says that this Srimad Bhagavatam kicks out all systems of cheating religion. So automatically it makes a very powerful distinction. There is something real, there's something that is not real, that is cheating. And the statement is that the Bhagavatam kicks out all systems of religion, all cheating religion specifically. And more specifically, the definition of cheating religions is religions that are motivated by material desires. The term is Kaitava Dharma. Kaitava Dharma is used at that point. The verse Dharmo Projito Kaitavotra that kicks out all these systems of religion that are based, that are materially motivated, and simply expound the real religion. And throughout the Bhagavatam, this is very much emphasized. And Prabhupada explains that this is basically the Srimad Bhagavatam is an expansion on this last instruction of Krishna. It's basically allows to understand this very mysterious, in one sense, last instruction of Krishna in the Bhagavatam of Sarva Dharmam Parityaja Man Ekam Sharanam Braja, that you abandon all types of religion. Abandon all types of religion and simply surrender unto me. So that what does this mean? You know, Krishna telling us that we should abandon all these different dharmas that are just part of, our functioning in society. All these different duties that we have, that religious principles that are given just by being part of society. And Krishna is instructing you to abandon that and just surrender unto me. That without the Srimad Bhagavatam, it will be a very difficult thing to understand. Just that statement of Krishna itself. What is it? How do we do that? And what does it mean? And why Krishna is asking us to do that? Isn't follow religious principles supposed to be something that Krishna wants us to do? So he said, well, and if we surrender to him, then that means that we don't supposed to follow those things, or we follow those things in a different way. So it's not a simple thing. So now the Bhagavatam is there to take us, okay, now you surrender to Krishna, and this is how this is what is mean. What is real religious? What is the purpose of religious? And how all these things, all this, everything that we do is supposed to basically fit within this process of surrendering to Krishna, of simply surrendering to Krishna. So then, what is that Krishna is asking us to abandon? And in this verse, Narada Muni is explaining also that if we become a Dharma Gyan means someone who knows the purpose of religion, then we should avoid this what is called irreligious. This is more specific. This more specifically, this Kaitava Dharma is divided into 5. So we go more specific of what this cheating type of religious means. What are these things that we have to be very much aware and avoid? And these are the things that are kicked out from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so there are 5. And they're being described as Vidharma, Paradharma, Abhasa Dharma, Upadharma, and Chala Dharma, the 5. So Vidharma is described as simply unauthorized. Is some sort of religious practices that are not based on the teachings of the Vedas, that are unauthorized by the Vedas. Vidharma. This is just plainly irreligious. And then you have Paradharma. Now, not to be confused with para means superior, and dharma means superior religion. So we hear, the definition in the Bhagavatam of real religion also as paradharma, sabai punsam paro dharmo, that the supreme or the superior religion is yato bhaktir adokshaye, devotion to Krishna. Not to be confused with this paradharma. Prabhupada describes as paradharma as when someone tells you that actually, why are you doing this inferior dharma? This is a better dharma. This is a superior dharma. So when someone is giving you a particular type of practice that you're unfit. Example, that if your nature, your natural propensity is you are how you say, like someone who works at wood, like a carpenter, and someone tells you, why you being a carpenter? You have to work so hard. Better, why don't you be a brahmana and do sacrifices? People will feed you. They don't have to work, they will give you donations. So you become a brahmana, like that. So, and say, oh, this is a good idea. I just have to, say something with a melodic ta-da, 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 you can make it your own words. No one will know anymore. Most people don't know Sanskrit. So you can make your own language, and swaha, then at the end, and then then you can be fed, get donations, and you don't have to work so hard. That's this is better. This is inferior. This is better. So that means paradharma. It's cheating. It's not real. It's something that you're not fit for. You're not qualified for. And if you take to that supposed paradharmas or superior occupation that you're not fit for, it's cheating. And then you have Abbas Dharma. Abbas, we hear that word Abbas before, Nama Abbas, right? Which is just a reflection. It's something that is pretentious, means that the word that Prabhupada used here is pretentious, a pretentious religion. So it pretends to be. It's a reflection. It's not the real thing. It's just a reflection. So it looks outside similar, but it have no substance. That's what a reflection is. No substance. There is just, very external. And that's Abbas Dharma. And so appears to be the real thing, but it's not. No substance. There's no realization. And then there's Upadharma. Upa means, this word upa is used, to be sort of close. That, how you say that, you're close to the object, So upadharma means that, Prabhupada used the word analogical religion. So that, the religion that is described in the scriptures, in the Vedas, or that Krishna described and is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is described like this. And there are certain things, well, by analogy, this is something similar, but it's not exactly. That I would say, when you do an analogy, is you reference to something to explain something else, but they're not the same thing. You may say, oh, your skin is as soft as cotton, but it doesn't mean that your skin is cotton. Your skin, cotton is cotton. They're two different things. So it's not the real thing. And then we have just plain cheating, that once takes just very purposely, unknowingly, because cheating, this type of cheating is when you purposely know something and you sort of twist it in such a way that fits, that you can trick people by jugglery of words. And Prabhupada specifically mentioned here of people who interpret the Bhagavad Gita. And he gave the example, in general, he gave a couple of examples. One of famous dear saying among politicians, who said that part of the Bhagavad Gita, he only accepted the Bhagavad Gita that presented non-violence. The part of the Bhagavad Gita that was encouraging war, that Krishna was encouraging Arjuna to fight, that part is not so good. But this part is very good. So you interpret the Bhagavad Gita for a particular purpose that you have. Or there was a fellow, famous so-called guru, transcendentalist, who used to say, what Krishna means when he say sarva dharman parityaja, he doesn't mean to surrender to him, the person. He means to surrender to the imperson within him. So, although Krishna is saying, no, he didn't mean what he said, he means this. So, and then he creates a whole system of religion based on that. So that's not good. That's irreligious. That's cheating. So all of these things are considered irreligious. All of these things are considered cheating religions. Cheating religions. They cheat the individual, the persons who are searching for religion, they cheat them into something else. And then basically, the purpose of religions is not achieved. And so those who are aware, the Dharma Gya, they understand what the purpose of religious is. We heard in previous classes, the purpose of religious is to surrender to Krishna, is to connect with Krishna. So, is to come to the position of pure devotional service. That's the purpose of religion. Yato bhakti radokshaye ahaitu kiya pratiyata. This type of pure devotion, non-motivated and uninterrupted, pure devotion to the Supreme Lord. And that's a state of a spiritual well-being, spiritual happiness. That's the purpose. That's the goal of religion, and that's what people come. Eventually, when you come to religion, that's what it's supposed to be. And in the ideal society that we're talking here, the Vedic society, this was a system that was established. Everything was supposed to be supporting that. It was a system that automatically every person who is part of that social structure will be progressively coming to that point to become Krishna conscious. Everything was built like that. So all these different dharmas that are given within the social structure, they were meant to bring you to the position of Sarvadharman Parityaja. So there is no discrepancy, it's just part of a system. There's not that Krishna says, oh, all the stuff, even though is given in the Vedas, even though is dharma that I prescribe, dharmas to, what is it? Dharmas to Bhagavan Pranitam, that it is Krishna himself who gives the principles of religions, this dharma. And so, even though I gave you all those principles of religions now abandoned, Krishna is not contradicting himself. The system is built like that. The system is built that all these principles of religion within this perfect social structure that also Krishna created, this Vanashram Dharma, Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, that he created the Vanashram Dharma. He created the social structure and he created this system of religion, dharma. And is very, very clever because according to the nature that people has, the different natures, then there's a prescribed duty that he have to perform within the social structure. And each one of those duties for different type of people within the social structure leads everybody in a progressive way to become Krishna conscious. To the point of that you naturally and very organically come to the point of simply surrendering to Krishna. It will lead you to that. That's a system. That's a system of Vanashram Dharma that Krishna created. That's this perfect social system that Narada Muni is speaking during all these period of time to Maharaj Yudhisthira. And that is also confirmed, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the whole description of Sutta Goswami given in this part of the Bhagavatam, in which he explained this Sabai Punsam Parodharmo verse, that he says that every single occupation that is there is meant to bring attraction to the personality of Godhead. What is it? Dharma Swanustita Punsam Vishwakshena Katasujat Not Padajen Jadi Ratin Shama Eva Hikevalam. That the proof that you are within the process of real religion, real dharma, you are within that real religion, is that you're becoming more and more attracted and attached to the messages and to hearing and chanting about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You become more attached to that. If that's not there, then whatever you're doing is a waste of time. Shama eva hi kevalam. So one can measure, or the test of the pudding is, how you say, the test of the proof, whatever. The proof is in the result. The result, the result. You have to be able to measure your results to see if you if you are doing the right thing. If you come to religion, the proof of religion, it doesn't matter what you do, but if you're becoming a devotee and you're advancing in being a devotee, then you're in the right path. Like that. But if you're becoming more attached and more involved in your material, attachments, then there's something that is not right. So this is something very, 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 very relevant and important. So one thing that we can understand is also Krishna explains that then the differentiation is made. There is two different types of religion, and he gives this in another part of the Bhagavatam. That one is para and one is apara, and these are based on nature itself. Krishna explains that there is two types of nature. There is apara in the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. He explains there are two types of nature. There is para and apara. Para means superior, right? We hear that. Apara means inferior. So when he explains apara, nature, prakriti, he explains that it has to do with the material world. It's material energy. So then those famous verses that he explains earth, water, bhumi, apo, that the 5 elements, gross elements, and then the subtle elements. This is my apara prakriti, my inferior energy, material energy. And then he explains what is this para prakriti, this superior energy, which is spiritual. And so apara have to do with your material nature. The material nature, that which is part of this material world. And para prakriti, your para nature, your supreme nature, have to do with your real identity of the self. So when we come to this material world, we have, because we're in this body, and according to the body that we have a particular natural inclination, a particular nature. And then, so we have our aparadharma and we have a paradharma. We have a dharma that have to do with our material nature. We have a dharma that have to do with our spiritual nature. And these two things are pretty much together, given, as a combo to help us in this perfect society, to help us, gradually and in a very natural manner, come to the position of Krishna consciousness. So the spiritual master in general, or those sadhus, the advanced devotees, they help society in understanding their swadharma. Swadharma means what is the specific duties that you have, that we all have specifically, according to our material nature and spiritual nature. So we're giving instructions in that matter. The scriptures give us instructions of that matter, like that. So, and the dharmas that have to do with our material nature, they're guided by the superior nature. And when that's, together like that, then it's a very progressive. It's progressive, and eventually you come to fully understand your spiritual nature. And then you can function on that exclusively. So, this, when this is like that, then your duties according to your material propensities, they're meant to bring you to your spiritual realization. But it have to be, again, very carefully guided. There is a very specific instructions of how to do it. There's instructions in the scripture, and there is those who are guides, the sadhus, the devotees, the advanced devotees, who will guide you step by step on how to be closely following these material duties in a way that you can be in the path of, apavarga, this dharmas, what is the verse? Dharmasya apavargasya, that those occupational duties are meant for liberating you. Like that. It's as long as it's very closely guided. So, these two things are there present. Now, we are conditioned by this material conception of life. So, when we're conditioned, when the living entity is conditioned to this, to thinking, I'm this material body, the tendency is very, very strongly that we're going to try, is constantly turning towards that material nature and have a complete block, or being completely unconscious of our spiritual nature. So the natural tendency in a conditioned state is to go towards the material, to material energy. That's where the strong flowing is. So we have to be very, very vigilant, and it's not a simple thing. It's not a simple thing because the tendency will be towards that. So it's a very strong theme, like right now, that that Narada Muni is at least warning us that we have to be very careful about these irreligious, these five branches of irreligious, because um, in in the position, let me try to go a little back to explain this idea that I think is the most important thing that I want to communicate in the class is in our position. We're in a position of we come into Krishna consciousness. We come into being in contact with this paradharma, but paradharma means, the real religion, devotional service. And as beginning our path, to try to break, from this material condition, we are in the beginning stages of devotional service. There are three stages of devotional service. There is the beginning stages, the middle stages, and then the advanced stage. Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. So, in the Kanishta state, which many of us, are, we're affected still by material conditioning. We're still dealing with that. And because we're still dealing with that, then there will be a push. It's almost like there's a toggle war. So there is the materialistic side, that's the spiritual side. So, and if we become really a little distracted, actually, it just takes this little much of becoming a little complacent with your spiritual practices, with the sadhana, that in no time, what is like, underwater. I don't know if any of you experience that. I constantly have to be watch about that. And, like you get a little sick, then you cannot chant properly, then you are, then everything becomes difficult. And, so any little thing that you become complacent can, you can see the push that is there for the material energy to take over. And this material propensity take us to this aparadharma. Aparadharma without paradharma means cheating. It can become, something that is not the real thing. It can become very much something that is not a real thing. So it's not just the people, the people, the ignorant people of devotion that they have no understanding of what devotional service is, that are affected by cheating religions, or religions that are based on a material conception. Because in reality, that's what cheating religions means. That they're religions that are based on bodily conceptions of life. So then we see, that all forms of religions that are practiced, mostly in the world, are based on material conceptions of life, that are based, on a particular culture, on a particular group, and is very exclusivist, that my group is the one that is the one who knows. The rest is doom. So like that, we're the chosen ones. And if you want to be part of our group, then you'll be fine, but you will not be. So these are all things that are materially infested. So it becomes, cheating. It becomes something that is not the real thing. And therefore the purpose is not achieved. And the purpose that is to be achieved is to become a pure devotee, to develop that unmotivated devotion to Krishna. The purpose is not achieved. And one still absorbed in all kinds of material things. And so that's very obvious out there. But in the situation within the community of devotees that we come to be under the shelter of real religion, paradharma, then because in the position that we are, oh, I would say general, but that many of us are, that we're affected by our material condition still, then we're in danger to go, even as a group, into something that is not the real thing also. So that very easily can happen if we're not very careful in understanding and following the instructions that are given by Krishna and by Krishna's representative. So it is very important for each one of us to fully become conversant with the teachings of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. That's why studying Prabhupada's books and trying to understand, to be able to discern what is real and what is not real. Because a reflection can very easily cheat you. Something that appears to be like, if you don't know, if you don't have the substance yourself, because of being unexperienced, you can be very easily cheated because it looks like. So, meaning that we have to become also, we have to come to understand, build substance. So, with in being a follower of those great personalities, the devotees, there's a responsibility that we have of becoming a leader, being able to mature as a follower means the responsibility of taking leadership. We're meant to be leaders. Each one of us is meant to be a leader, to show an example of the teachings. That's a responsibility that being educated has, and we have to assume it. So and for that we have to take up with integrity and with honesty the process of becoming Krishna conscious. So, in the position of being a neophyte, in which we're affected by this material nature, that can very easily create situations of deviate from the real thing. We have to be pretty much determined and committed to the process of really understanding, studying, applying, and committed to overcome those things. We're meant to actually advance from the position of being affected with material conditioning to the position of being fixed in devotional service. So only in that position of being fixed, when we come to the stage of Madhyama, that your faith is fixed and is based, okay, you may not be 100% pure, but now when you're fixed, it's more of a wholesome. You're more in the integrity of your practices are much more stronger. So that is something that is a must. And the Madhyama means someone who becomes now a leader, a preacher, someone who teaches, who helps others. And that's what we're meant to do. That's part of the purpose of coming to Krishna consciousness. So that's what will allow us to come to the position of being a dharma gyan, someone who understands the purpose or who acts in the purpose of religion. Anyway, I think there's many things to meditate on these two verses, and then we're gonna hear more about it. How Narada Munis keep going deeper into these understandings, because remember, if we backtrack. When he's explaining the idea of family life, the Liya Grihasta, the last part ended in Narada Muni explaining that the importance of understanding how to associate with devotees, how to recognize the devotees, how to be able to function within the society of devotees. And not only the devotees, but actually the whole people. How to be able to deal with everybody in terms of having the realization, that the spiritual realization that we are spirit souls, and understanding Krishna is within the heart of all living entities, how to properly respect all living entities. So that is a position of someone who understands, dharma, who understands, religion. Who comes to the position of a spiritual understanding. And he's emphasizing this, that in a civilized society, in an ideal society, then all these practices are done with that full understanding that I'm a spirit soul and an eternal servant of Krishna, like that. So, and we have to be then careful not to be cheated or deviated from those things, from that position, by something that is not like that. One have to be very much aware of those things. So anyway, I stop here. If there's any discussion, thoughts. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your class. You were mentioning the point of proof is in the pudding. The more we're attached to Krishna consciousness, the more we have that desire to hear. That's the proof that we're advancing. One point from the Bhagavatam I appreciated, Prabhupada mentions in this verse, Savaipum Sampado Dharmo Ahai Tukiya Pratiyata, it should be unconditional. And so we could see that there's just one point, it's not really my question, but this one point I appreciated, that we see that it's easy to be attached when we're getting recognition. So then we may mistake it as I'm attached to devotional service, but we're really attached to recognition. Because if we're not, or somebody's receiving more recognition than us, then we're unenthusiastic. And so we could see, so the Bhagavatam says we should be unconditional. And this is kind of related to my question of honor and dishonor or victory and defeat, we hear in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna has control over that. And one particular religion that we all kind of hold dear to ourselves is our reputation. That could cause a lot of people anxiety if somebody's slandering me. I try to do my best, somebody's talking about me, I should get revenge or slander their reputation back. And we see in the Bhagavatam that Prahlad, despite Hiranyakashipu trying to kill Prahlad, he couldn't do it. Or in the Bible, there's one saint called Daniel who some king said stop worshiping God, and he wouldn't, so they threw him in the lion's den. But then an angel protected him. And so we can see that in the material world, and the Gita or in the Bible times explain that it doesn't matter how much someone tries to slander your reputation. If Krishna wants to slander your reputation or your life, then there's nothing anybody could do about it. But if he does, he's in control of that. So it doesn't matter how much somebody tries to kill you or kill your reputation. If Krishna hasn't ordained that, then it's not going to happen. So as devotees, practicing devotees, how important is it for us? Can you elaborate on this? Is that all devotees have disagreements, but the tendency is that we become degraded into the religion of getting revenge, slandering when there's a disagreement. We take it as disrespect. But should we basically let Krishna handle the tough love? We kind of use our revenge and our petty, bickering to, we coat it with tough love for justice. In the end, Krishna, if he wants to take somebody away from Krishna consciousness, we don't have to do anything. He could, inspire, lust in their heart, take them away from Krishna consciousness. But the real religion, my understanding, is that we should pray for every devotee's well-being. It doesn't matter whether we disagree or whatever the argument is. My understanding, that's the unconditional religion, not that if I have a disagreement, then, I hope you fall down, etc. So my question basically is that, should we allow Krishna handle the tough love and justice? Or, we usually like to, Krishna's taking too long to give that person their karma. Let me take it in my hands.
That's
The question wasn't really clear, but hopefully you could extract something from that.
those things are, is a very is we take the easy route of let things, sort of take care of itself by time, or Krishna will take care of those things. So eventually, that type. I don't necessarily would take responsibility myself, but it's just the way it is, and I just continue doing what I'm doing, my understanding of serving or devotional service, and then things will fix itself. But it's not like that necessarily. We're meant to actually do some work ourselves. It takes a personal responsibility that we have to actually overcome our condition. We have to do something. Uh, the example is given. Srila Ramanujacharya gave the example of the monkey, the surrendering, for the surrender and the dependence and the protection of Krishna that comes to us is with the example of the little monkey instead of the example of the little kitten. I explain myself that the mother monkey, the little monkey is fully dependent on the mother monkey to go from point A to point B. Like we are in point A, we're materially conditioned, we want to come to point B, we're fully as Krishna conscious. So to get from this point to this point, we're depending on Krishna, true. But we still have to do something. We have to hold to Krishna instructions. So the little monkey have to really, hold to the mother in order to be taken from point A to point B. So there's two things, there's mercy and there's works. And we're supposed to work. We're supposed to work with integrity in our evolution. Integrity and honesty. These are two things that are the staple of a bhakta. Integrity and honesty. So when I say integrity, is that we study the scriptures and we're able to say and present it in a certain way. But if we lack integrity, we may not follow fully what we preach. So then, I have to be honest. Then I have to analyze, I have to see myself and see, I'm not, although I'm saying I'm following Krishna, but Krishna gives these instructions, but I'm not able to follow these instructions. For example, Krishna tells us that in order to receive transcendental knowledge, we have to find a spiritual master within, the disciplic succession. So, so let me if we honest and we follow with integrity what we believe on, then let me do this, let me do this, let me do this, and if I'm not doing it, then let me understand from within myself why I'm not doing it. What's there, what's the block that I have that doesn't allow me to do, and then maybe I can ask people that I feel confident about it. I have this block. What do you think? I pray to Krishna, please let me overcome this. So that means, someone who is honest and trying with integrity from the position that we are to grow to where we want to be. Depending on Krishna and the mercy of Krishna, but we have to work. We have to do something. So that means, that's what I mean with integrity and honesty. And we have to be constantly watch about that, because then what happens is that, we very easily affected by material condition, we can rationalize. And the rationalizing means there's something external that is the cause. I don't want to dig too much inside. It's too much work. And it's disturbing too. In general, our mess inside could be very messy. And getting all messed up is very disturbing. So the easy solution is that no. It's outside me, the problem. That's why I cannot do this or I cannot do that. And that shows, when sometimes when we speak that we're not fully following what we believe on. There's a say that I was reading the other day that, let me see if I can remember, that one should live according to one's we think. Because if we don't do that, then we'll be thinking all the time of what we lived before. Something like, let me see, what was it? Thing? Basically, in a nutshell, is that we have to follow, what we believe, what we think, is the right thing, or what we understand is the right thing. Because if we're not, we've been thinking all the time of simply the way we live, That's what we absorb ourselves, not, real the principles that we're trying to live for, something like that. So anyway, that's it. Let me see if someone else has some. Krishnarjana.
I noticed in the purport that mention was made by Srila Prabhupada that many yogis are introducing ideas of religion. So usually when you hear yogi, you think it falls more into the category that you were describing of the paradharma. It's more on the spiritual side, whereas and not so on the material side, the aparadharma the distinction you'd made. So would it be correct to say that some of these different ways of adharma that Narada Muni is describing, the cheating, the looking at things by analogy, following principles that are completely contrary to religious process, would it be correct to say that all of that is actually can be happening more in the realm of the paradharma and not even on the aparadharma category? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the reflection that was, when I was reading about this verse and I started to think about it, is that within the realm of devotional service, if we are affected by some material condition, yeah, it can very easily turn into something that is not. And then we've seen it. We've seen it that happens sometimes in the community of devotees. You get into this thing of groupism, you know, and it's a description of Kanishta Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari doesn't have the description is that you don't know how to you differentiate. You just get into the external activities, but very much neglect the devotees. And so there's not a full grasp on the essence, on the substance. It can be very easily very in just the external stuff. So, which is affected by some material, um, something material. So if it's like that, it can be very easy landed in something that is materially motivated. My group is better than yours, or if you want to be part of our exclusive, it becomes exclusivist like that. So how you avoid that? Well, you have to be very, very vigilant. Again, is the integrity and the honesty part that we were talking about. That individually we have to take the responsibility of becoming Krishna conscious, and meaning that we have to understand the teachings, so become conversant with the teachings, so we're able to differentiate, what's real, what's not real, and we have to be very much attentive to the practices that are given to us, the purificatory practices, so we become, free from those obstacles. So it can happen to a yogi, if it's not under the umbrella of, again, devotional service. Same, all these dharmas, they're supposed to be under the umbrella of devotional service, and they're progressive. But if you take that protection, then it goes the other way in no time. like in really no time. That's what we experience as practicing devotees. You take yourself a little off, and then in no time you're like, underwater. Uh, so like that. Any other comment or questions? Okay, Baladev.
How important is it not to become discouraged? Because when we hear the words like integrity or honesty, a lot of people, they're not going to mention their anarchs. Who's going to mention it out in public, obviously, you know. But at the same time, we have to be honest with ourselves, even if we're not honest with others, like you were mentioning. And that's one point I appreciate it. But a lot of times when we hear integrity, we usually connect it with lust. But one point I appreciated, there's a lecture by Ranatha Maharaj called Never Offend Devotees. It's a transcribed lecture. And he basically mentions that the greatest obstacle that devotees have is not lust or greed, it's actually offending devotees. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the same thing in Jaiva Dharma in chapter 8. He mentions that even though a Vaishnava may get rid of lust, the desire for pride, honor, and distinction, which causes Vaishnava pride, is greater. And we could see that in the life of Hiranyakashipu. He was able to give up, Hiranyakashipu means one who loves money and women, but he was able to give up celibacy for what, like 10 million years, just to become God. But one austerity he couldn't perform was respect Prahlad, and then he wanted to kill him, and that caused his, fall down. So as practicing devotees, we sometimes hear the word integrity. If I have a lot of anarthas, then I shouldn't speak anything about Krishna consciousness ever. We hear that, in Bhagavatam, Krishna says, Shrimvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravanam Kirtana, Hridiyantasto Hiabadani Vidinoti Suhrit Satam. That, you don't have control over your integrity. I control your lust, your anger, your greed. And the more you do Shravanam Kirtana, you get purified by doing Shravana Kirtana, and you stay purified by doing Shravana Kirtana. So my question is, how important is it not for devotees to get discouraged from their anarthas, especially an anartha of lust, but we don't really emphasize the anartha of offending devotees, which is really the cause of degradation and fall down, all the other anarthas. So how important is that to stay enthusiastic in Christian consciousness? Not just that I don't have integrity or I'm lusty, so I shouldn't speak anything about Christian consciousness.
Yeah,
So what about that?
just in short, because we're way past time. Actually, I didn't notice that was the time. But we work from where we are. We still have to work. We can't avoid that. We still have to. We still have to take responsibility for our personal, growth. So we can just, think, okay, Krishna, just do it. Just make me Krishna conscious, like that. No, we have to do something. We have to take that responsibility. And it's, Krishna's big help is there, and that's it. But we work from the position that we are. We may be way down there. Well, we start from there. A person with integrity, it could be also a person who starts, in a very difficult situation, and you start to dig yourself, do your thing, and that's quite admirable and respectable. And meaning, you look internally from there. Anyway, we should stop, but we can continue sometime. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.